Deb McCutchen, and the title of her talk, Dinner and Dessert.
Think about a 4-year-old child that you know or have known. The children you're thinking about are probably skilled talkers and competent listeners, at least when it suits them. But they've spent their time prior to learning to read really focused on learning to understand and use language with a real focus on word meanings. They've been learning to distinguish cats from dogs, distinguishing Fluffy who purrs from Fido who barks, and not paying too much attention to the difference between that ah sound in the middle of the word cat from the ah sound in the middle of the word dog. But that ability to refocus, to attend to more than just word meanings, is an important difference in between learning to talk and learning to read. This attention to the sounds of the words has come to be called phonemic awareness. And this phonemic awareness is an important insight that children need to develop in order to become fluent in learning to read and spell words. And that insight is not trivial. It's a little bit akin to the difference between knowing how to drive a car and knowing how to rebuild an engine. An example might help illustrate what I mean. Perhaps this example, taken from a note written by my then 5-year-old son. He wrote this in response to a question from a new babysitter about our evening routines. Admittedly, he took a little poetic justice because baths always came before TV in our house. But what this note does reveal is his thinking about the sounds within the words that he was trying to write. He'd never seen dessert spelled with a Z, but when he said dessert, he heard a Z, so he wrote a Z. And he, like many 5-year-olds, was still having problems articulating that TH sound. So he wrote what he heard himself say, bath instead of bath. And all beginning spellers reverse letters, so don't read too much into that VT. But this ability to think closely about the sounds within words is what we mean by phonemic awareness. And this awareness seems to develop spontaneously among many students, but that development we're coming to understand is not spontaneous. It builds on thousands of hours of experience with language, especially playful language that calls attention to itself and calls children's attention to the sounds of words as well as the meanings of words. We know, for example, that among 3-year-olds, their knowledge of nursery rhymes like Jack and Jill predicts their phonemic awareness and their reading years later. And there's nothing magical about the rhyme Jack and Jill. Such playful language can reflect all kinds of cultural and language backgrounds. In fact, phonemic awareness seems to transcend language differences. Among young children for whom English is not the first language, phonemic awareness in their home language predicts phonemic awareness and reading in English. In the work we've done with teachers, when we deepen their understanding of phonemic awareness, its development, and its relationship to student learning, they changed their instruction and they got their students off to a faster start in reading. Did they bombard their kindergartners with worksheets? No. The kindergarten teachers with whom we worked still had their kindergarten students listening to stories, singing songs, sorting bins of colorful objects. But instead of sorting only by color or by shape, students were also sorting objects by the sounds in their names, sorting toy jets with toy jacks and jeeps. And instead of simply singing rhyming songs, they playfully made up new lyrics together. So how can we help prepare all students to learn to read and write? The answer to that question involves play. Play with words and play with language. And that play doesn't have to be in English to lay foundations for learning to read in English. We need to envelop children in playful language that calls their attention not just to what is said, but also to how it's said. Wordplay, it's serious work.